Hi, this is Katie Weeks, your independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And today I'm joining the Inspiration Collaboration Design team to feature online exclusives. So I am going to be featuring Otterly Adorable, which is one of the new online exclusives that released November 5th. And I'm going to show you through the designer series paper, and look at this adorable stamp set. I have the stamp set and the dies. This is how I store mine. And this leaves slits so that you can have your little otter like under the water, like under some of the waves. It's absolutely adorable. And I will show you some of my designer series paper that cuts out some of these otters as well with the thin cuts. So let's look at the paper first. You get 2 of each paper. The first design is this one. It has the school of fish and it has the otters on the other side. It's absolutely adorable, and I love seeing them when they're playing in all the little scenes. Very cute. The next design is here. And they're swimming through the reeds. And here's the other side with more fish and all the different greenery in the sea life. I just think that's adorable. And then this one is really cool. I find it hard to use. I'm not well versed at how to use these big scenes quite yet, but there's a fun little scene here. And then I absolutely love the river rocks. So if you go places and see all the different shades of river rocks, that's what that reminds me of. Even along like the lake shores, you will see the different colored rocks. And I know this summer I was taking pictures of the colorful rocks up at Lake Erie. Here's the next one. And this is the one where we have a thin cut to cut out this guy. We have a thin cut to cut out this guy, and this little one too. I think those little ones are called pups, but I don't know why I know that. And then some beautiful water. And then here's another fun one. And some of these stamps, like this one, I don't believe I have a thin cut for that. No, I do not. I don't have a thin cut for that, but I do have a stamp for that. So I can reproduce that one over and over. But you know what? I wonder if I go back a couple more sheets. This one right here, I wonder. I'm going to have to play at some point. I think I might have thin cuts that can cut some of these out potentially as well. How fun is that? I just love how the thin cuts match up. So those fun scenes, and then I love this. It's almost like a muddy look, and I can just see otters playing in the water and in the mud, right? And just making a complete mess, especially the young, playful ones. And there you go. Some more of that foliage from under the sea, and another color for our water scene. And I will tell you, the colors that are featured in this set include Balmy Blue, Basic Gray, Calypso Coral, Crumb Cake, Early Espresso, Garden Green, Gray Granite, Lemon Lime, Twist. Sorry, that's all one word, or all one name. Lemon Lime Twist, Lost Lagoon, Old Olive, Pecan Pie, Pool Party, and Pretty Peacock. So I am actually going to be using these and my thin cuts, and I believe I'm going to bring in my embossing folder that's so swirly, because I think that can emboss and look like water being stirred up as well. And let's see what we can create. Okay, so I've looked through some pattern books. I really can't find the pattern I want along with the photo arrangement that I want. So I think I'm going to go a little rogue tonight and just do my own thing. I think I'm going to do these pictures over here, which shows those river rocks like I was telling you. Actually, it's lake rocks. And then I have a few more pictures. I'm just going to put them under a flip flap. I don't need all of them displayed on the front. And I really couldn't decide which pictures to hide behind flip flaps on this side. So I think I'm just going to do one long strip of pictures here and these over here. I may trim them down just a little to mat them, but I think that's what I'm going to go with. And I've pulled out some papers that I might use. This is what I'm leaning toward. I think I really want to stick to this for the bottom of the page. I might bring in just a little bit of the mud because I kind of like that. And I'm definitely going to bring in these rocks and maybe just a little bit of the seaweed. So for the little otters, I'm going to mostly focus on this, cutting them out with my die cuts. So let's get started on designing how we want that paper to be trimmed up. So let's set this aside. I looked at some and kind of liked if it had a strip across the bottom. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut, oh, I don't like to cut into these guys. I'm going to cut 2 4-inch strips. Now I know it's going to be covered on the right-hand side, but I'm just going to go ahead and cut those to go across the bottom of the 2 pages. The next thing I'm trying to decide is what I want to trim just above it. Like, I think I'm going to come in with this river rock and we'll just do 2 strips that are a 1/2 inch each. I don't know why I always have to do a 1/2 inch. I could do 3/4 or something different and it would probably look just as fine, but we're going to stick to a 1/2 inch on each of those. And then I want to cut out some bigger panels, maybe like for behind this. So I've got 8 by 6. If I were to mat it, 8.5 by 6.5 maybe. So this is Lost Lagoon. I think that was one of the colors. Yeah, I like that. So what did I say? 8.5 by 6.5. Let's see what we have going on here. This is 8.5. We can go 6.5 here. Let's see if we like this. Very pretty. Put this under here. That's going to go on the other sheet. I like that. And then that still gives me room if I want to do skinny mats behind it, I can. And then, yeah, let's add some more matting maybe. That was, ooh, I don't know if I want to go that dark yet. Eight and a half by 6.5. So if I could go 7 by 9. And I could gut this if I wanted to. if I needed to conserve paper. Yeah, that really goes along with that whole beachy feel. I liked that. So, and then on this side, I've got this to run across the bottom, and I know it's going to be covered a lot. I think I'm going to trim these guys down just a hair, especially these. Let's go 5.5. By 3.5. We really don't need a sidewalk, do we? 5.5 by 3.5. Let's do that twice. There's a shadow that comes through here. I'm not really sure what that was. That was probably me. But I loved the reflection on the water that was pooled over here. So let's do that. And then these I could probably go down a smidge. That one has some people on the outside. Wonder if I can. If we go down 1/4 of an inch, do a 1/4 inch off the side of all of them. And then I think, I don't need my arm in there. It's pretty obvious it's a selfie, right? And then that middle picture, I think I'm going to trim down to give me a little bit of room between the photos. So this one, we definitely don't need all that grass. And some of it's not even very pretty. So let's trim that out. Let's see what we have going on. And I should have a 1/2 inch strip of that river rock someplace. I'll find him in a minute. We can substitute this one for now. See how things are looking. I think the one with the sunset needs to be at the bottom, just because like this was earlier in the day and working towards evening. I think this can go all the way up, don't you? Should I have some matting around these guys like I had over there? So we've got 5.5 by 7. So 6 by 7.5 should give me a nice mat. I don't know if I want it quite that big or if I'm going to want to trim it down. And I think if I just mat around this one, it can fill in the rest of the gap there. So I think that was 5 3/4 for the width of the paper. And then that can just tuck down in there and go in between whatever else. And that'll give me the color consistency across the pages. Don't know if I want the river rock on our heads, but that might be all right. Okay, I'm going to adhere these down and come right back. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do before I adhere everything down is I am tearing some strips of vellum. And if you saw one of my last videos, I did like a vellum waterfall. I'm still loving the layers of vellum as on top of the water to emulate water. And so Kelly Baxter Fitzgerald had used this vellum over her water and then tucked in some of her otters. I'm not doing it all exactly the same way, but that's where I got my inspiration. So I'm going to tear strips of vellum, and I am going to have to bring up some of the pictures like that one I had down to adhere these down, but I'm just trying to get the placement, make sure I have them about the right lengths, and then I'm gluing them down. And you really can't see my adhesive the way that I'm gluing them down, and that water has some variation in blues, which really is what's helping mask my glue as well. Now that stark white at the top of both pages just is too much for me. So I'm taking a couple different ink pads. I believe it's Lost Lagoon and Gray Granite, and just putting the ink pad on my glass mat with a little bit of water, and I have a little plastic baggie, and I'm just splotching it on the background. I didn't do it all over because I knew where I had my photo spots going, so especially the left page, I kind of left it open. And then I'm going to glue these papers down. It wasn't even very wet. It dried right away, so I was able to glue the things down right away. And I'm gluing them down, but yet I will be possibly pulling things up a little bit to tuck things in. Then I punched out of some of my different DSP 3 different circles with my punches, 1 3/4, 2 inch, and 2 3/8. 2 3/8. And so I went through and I just clustered these circles to give me 3 different embellishment clusters, and then I glued them down. When I had the water, I tried to make sure those 2 DSPs went like left and right, so it looked like the water was going across like it should. And then I also glued these little otters down, and like any good embellishment cluster, I was making sure even the little otters kind of touched those circles, so everything was touching at some point. And I even used that paper that looks like mud as one of my layers just because it gave a really nice contrast, and so it didn't all just look like blues and greens. And then the next thing I'm going to do is bring in my stamps. And there were a couple of sayings on here that I thought I would stamp up, and I used my Pretty Peacock Stampin' pad. And on the right hand page, I stamped "We're cute together." And on the left hand page, I had a stamp that says "You're utterly amazing." Well, I just stamped up, and sorry my head's in the way, but I had to get in there really close. And same thing here, sorry my head's in the way, but it just says "Otterly Amazing." And I was going to put a title on there, but I have that picture that has the big GOTL for Geneva on the Lake. That's where we were. And that's probably what I would have titled the page. So I thought I don't have to have a big, huge title. So then I brought in one other thing, and that was these Riverside Irregular pearls. They are gorgeous, and it was the perfect finish to my layout. Here's one final look at my layout, and I hope you'll go check out the other girls on the Inspiration Collaboration Design team, including our newest member, Danielle Wagner. Like, comment, share, and subscribe for more crafty inspiration.